Today we're going to make a video on Tesla, and Tesla stock is in a bubble. I thought, you know what, I've not pissed off the Tesla shareholders that watch my videos for a little bit, so it's been a couple of months, let's do it. So for all you guys that enjoy the videos on Tesla, this one's for you. Let's get started. So Tesla stock is getting a lot of buzz at the moment because the stock is having a pretty good month. The stock is up 40% in the last month and everybody's getting excited. All of a sudden I've seen everybody making videos about how Tesla's going to the moon, whether it be on YouTube, everyone that suddenly owns Tesla and come out the woodwork going, hey, look at this. I even had comments saying, oh look, Tesla's doing really well. It's been very, very quiet for the last 12 months, but all of a sudden they've just come out of the woodwork a little bit and started talking about how the stock is absolutely skyrocketing. I saw this even from the likes of Financial Education, who all of a sudden started posting about Tesla and how well it's doing, it's going up, instead of posting about Nike stock and how he's down 50% on Nike stock, and he said that at $100 this was a $200 stock, and now that's fallen down. Or even Walgreens. I even saw that other UK investor, well I say UK investor, UK/Russian investor. I mean, to be fair to him, he's not made any videos on Tesla recently, but he's too busy with his conspiracy theory on Adobe at the moment. But I'm sure he'll start piping up once again, and just like how he did with Trading 212 and saying that will go in bankrupt, and look how that ended up for him. Anyway, Tesla stock, obviously everyone's suddenly getting excited from it, but realistically, yeah, it's up 40% in the last month and everybody's suddenly coming out of the woodwork and saying, oh, look at how well Tesla stock's doing. But let's be honest, let's zoom out a little bit. I mean, year to date the stock is down negative 0.82%. It's negative for the year. It's just negative for the year, but it's down. And this is coming off a year where the S&P is absolutely flying. The S&P is up 16%. And holding Tesla stock would have been quite an underperformance. And if you look in the last year, it's down 12%. So Tesla stock has had a tough time. Everyone's acting like a genius, like they bought at $144 and they're up at these like 70+%. But for most people, they're still down on the position or the break even on the position. So I don't understand why so many people are getting excited, because there's only a little small bunch of people that have some shares during this time frame. But anyway, let's get on to some Tesla stock. Now, obviously that was quite a negative intro, wasn't it? I'm going to tell myself off for it. Jacob, that was way too negative. I actually like Tesla. I like Elon Musk. I think Elon Musk is a great CEO. He's made plenty of successful companies. I think he's done very well with Tesla. I think he's very good at protecting the share price. I think he talks a good game. I think that helps the share price. I think he's done very well to protect it in the last few months when the financials have been absolutely awful. And I've owned Tesla. I have owned Tesla before. I've owned it 3 times. I owned it back in 2018. Was an absolute stellar performer for me, one of my best ever performers back in 2018, and I was pretty much the only one on the whole YouTube scene talking about Tesla back in that time frame. Now everybody talks about it, but back then nobody wanted to own Tesla, and I ended up making, I think it was like 300 to 400% return on the Tesla stock. Back in 2021 I bought the stock again and I made over 100% on it, and even in 2023 I made 25% on the stock. Overall my Tesla returns, if you combine them, are like 650% return. Technically Tesla has been my best performing stock that I've ever owned, and I will always thank Elon Musk for doing that, because he has given me a lot of money from owning Tesla stock, and I am a Tesla bull. At the right price I would own Tesla stock. What I don't agree with is the amount of hype crap that goes on the YouTube scene, and that people look at the share price and think, oh look, Tesla stock's absolutely amazing, when fundamentally the company hasn't done well at the moment, and that's why the stock isn't doing well, and people hype up a stock that is not in a good place. That's what I always get sick of with Tesla, and that's why I make these videos to kind of go, hey, it's not good out there. That's why 12 months ago I was saying, like, everybody was talking about Tesla saying like, oh, just buy it 52-week highs, it's okay, and the stock absolutely fell off a cliff, and people are still down from that point of view, and I just kind of give people a bit of a reality check here. Now, Tesla overall, the rally has started really because the deliveries came out a little bit stronger than what was expected. I mean, they say they were stronger than expected. Yeah, that's great, but realistically, let's look at the numbers. To let Tesla deliveries fall 5%. Now, when you're a company trading at 63 times earnings and 80 times forward earnings, you probably don't want to have your cars falling 5% in deliveries. That's not good. Yeah, fair enough, get excited by that little beat there. The main thing is the bigger picture. It's not been good for Tesla. And you look at the overall picture of the financials, this year alone, they're expecting to grow 1% this year. The EPS is going to fall from $3.12 to $2.55. That's not good. That's why you trade at even of a richer valuation now. When you look at the company, it's trading at 80 times forward earnings. That's not good. And if you look at where they were a year ago, if I use way back machine, Analysts were expecting in 2024 $3.67. The fact that they're now expecting $2.55 is a crazy downgrade. That's a crazy downgrade. That is absolutely a stinker. So no wonder the stock has performed poorly. In fact, you could argue that if you're downgrading the EPS by this much, I mean, what's the downgrade there? Round about 40% downgrade in your EPS guidance? I've got to say, I think you're a little bit lucky. Your stock's only down 0% year to date, and in last year only down 12%. I think if you're downgrading your EPS by 40%, I think most companies would be absolutely destroyed by that. So that's absolutely awful. And you look at the revenue growth, 1% expected this year. If we go back to where we were in January 2024, same again, we're expecting 19% revenue growth this year. So your EPS has fallen off a cliff, and your revenue is fallen off by a cliff. It's awful. It's awful. And maybe the stock was expected to be down even more. And yet people are getting excited about Tesla because, the deliveries came in a little bit better than it's expected. Give over, guys. Your stock, the big thing is, why is the stock up 40%? It shouldn't be up 40% because realistically the big thing that you look at with Tesla is the fundamentals, the actual financials. Everyone's suddenly, because the stock price is going up, it's an absolutely amazing business. If the stock is going down, it's a terrible business. That's not investing, guys. Investing is looking at the numbers. I am showing you the numbers right now, and the numbers are absolutely shit. There's no other way to describe it. These numbers are awful, and the share price should reflect that. And I think Tesla's maybe a little bit looking, should not really be having the rally right now, because actually when you look at the financials, they're poor. Let's not just get excited because the deliveries were a little bit better than expected. They're down 5%. The financial deterioration in the last 12 months has been absolutely awful. And then a few people are getting excited about the robo-taxi event is coming. I mean, we've been hearing about robo-taxis for the last 3 or 4 years, and we're still not being delivered about them. We can't suddenly put a 40% increase on the value of a company. We can't go from a 400 billion company to you can't add 300 billion in the market cap or whatever's been added on in the last few days. We can't add multi-billion pounds worth of market cap just because there's a robo-taxi event coming. We've been talking about this since 2021. Until that company actually delivers something on the financial point of view, when we see them actually in the financials, then we start adding on the share price. And that's what's a little bit worrying. There's a big rally here going on Tesla at the moment, but yet, realistically, there shouldn't be the rally going on because there's not been anything that it will add financially to the actual fundamentals of the business. And I also think that what a few people aren't realising is the big difference between where Tesla was when the stock price peaked in 2021 when it was $400 and everybody on the YouTube scene was saying, just buy it 52 highs, you'll be okay. Why the stock got absolutely stung? Because you got to look at the fundamentals, guys. And what they're not even realising from that time frame why the business has changed from 2021 is that another thing is the competition. Where Tesla was 3 years ago, or even 2 years ago, there was no competition. And when we come out the higher interest rates, which by the way, I think Tesla will do a lot better financially when we do come out the higher interest rates. When we do come out of that situation, the big thing that we don't know from where we were 2 years ago, 3 years ago, is the competition. BYD is a serious player in China and Europe at the moment for Tesla. How much of a market share will that take off them? How much profit margins will that take off them? I see none of the big Tesla bulls out there even recognizing this. This is a serious issue, guys, and we'll see where that actually does end up taking the financials in the long term. Now, I've got to say, I always sound a lot more negative on these videos than what I want to do, but I just get fed up with all the bullshit that a lot of these hypers put on Tesla. There's so many hypers out there in the whole YouTube scene. I actually want to look at the numbers and talk to the numbers about you guys. I'm not hyping up a stock here. And, I did say that Tesla for me at $150 is an actual buy. I believe if you can get Tesla for $150, you'll actually do really well. My big issue is that the problem is that you've gone from $150 to $246. You've done 70% in basically 2 months. I think a lot of your upside has basically gone out of the business now. That's the big issue with Tesla. I said previously $150 is a good buy. I was very close to pulling the trigger myself at $150, but I just thought, I'm going to buy a little bit cheaper, $130 for a bit more risk to reward, because I think the numbers have actually deteriorated even faster than what I thought. But I was quite close to buying Tesla, and I think last time I talked about Tesla as well, and I showed you like a couple of numbers when it was a bit cheaper. You can see from my numbers here that I actually think there was a decent-ish kind of upside on Tesla anyway. And what I never see any of these people that go, Tesla to the moon, I never actually see any of them talk about the financials. So if you actually look at the financials now, and why I believe Tesla is definitely in a bit of a bubble now, and the stock has gone absolutely ballistic in the last 2 months, up 70%, I think you've lost basically all your upside out from the stock now. if I bought $150, I'm not going to lie, guys, I'd probably be pretty much tempted to reduce my stake. I'd probably even sell half my stake in the position. Because I looked at the company now, and like I said, no one ever talks about the actual numbers. Everyone says, oh, it's going to go even higher. But to go even higher from where it is right now, what numbers are they going to seriously have to do? Is it going to get there on pure hype? Maybe. I'm never going to rule that out. It could get there on pure hype. But if you actually look as a proper investor into Tesla right now, if the company grows 15, 18, 20%, which, by the way, they've got to get there from basically flat growth at the moment. That's a big ask to do. They're way off that at the moment. Maybe they get there. We'll see what happens. It's a quite big ask though. I've put 15, 18%, 20% revenue growth in. Profit margins, I put 12, 15, 18% in. Now, same again, I see no investors or bulls on Tesla talk about this. Their profit margins are falling down rapidly. And at the moment, they currently have profit margins of around about 14%, but even they're dropping quite a bit at the moment. Now, at the peak of 14%, are they going to be able to get there? We'll see what happens. I've even put a bit of expansion in there. So I've put 12% profit margins, 15% profit margins, where basically they're at kind of at the moment, 80% profit margins on the high side. If you believe that all these things are going to work out for them and they're going to expand the profit margins, I'm being generous on the upside for you guys. I think 20% revenue growth and 8% profit margins is a big ask. I put a multiple of 25 times earnings. I think Tesla at the moment trading at 84 times earnings for a company doing these financials, in my opinion, is ridiculous. I think that the only reason why Tesla's doing really well isn't because it's financially performing. I think it's because it's had a metric expansion. It's gone from trading at like 60 times forward earnings all the way up to 84 times earnings, which I think is absolutely ridiculous for a company that's just done these financials. So I'm not going to assume a big premium on the business. That might change for you, but that's basically where I am. So I put 25 times earnings in. Now, if you do look at the numbers there, there's no upside. There's no upside at the moment. Growing at 15% with 12% profit margins at 25 times earnings, there's no upside. 18% growth, 25 times earnings, 15% profit margins, that's a big ask to do. You're flat on the position. At 27% revenue growth, 27% upside, at 18% profit margins and 20% upside. There's no upside, guys. I generally think that, yeah, there's a few people celebrating at the moment about Tesla going up, and fair play to you if you made money. I'm never going to hate on someone that's made money. We're all here to make money at the end of the day. But I think the problem is that your share price has gone up that much that quickly. I think you might have lost all your upside, guys, for the next 5 years. I think all your upside for the next 5 years might have nearly been baked into the share price on there. Now, if we're going to get a little bit ridiculous, because people are going to get a little bit ridiculous, and you do believe Tesla will trade at more of a premium, you might say that, Tesla might grow, trade at let's call it 60 times earnings, because that's roughly where it's at right now. There's a lot more upside on the business if you do believe it can trade at a premium. If you do believe it can trade at the premium, you buy here. If you believe the stock is going to do these numbers, these profit margins, and then trade at a 60 times earnings premium, you might be a buy here. If you do these numbers, it makes sense. If you really do believe they can get to those, higher 18-20% revenue growth, those profit margins get back to where they were, 15, 80, or even profit margin expansion, your multiple expansion goes up to more 60 times earnings. There's upside there, guys. So if you're buying and you believe they can do those numbers, I don't blame you. For me, I personally would say that is assuming a lot of things go right for them, and that's where for me I go, your risk to reward is very limited. That's why I think at $150 is one of those prices that's in my opinion a lot more tempting for Tesla, because you do get that more risk to reward. There's that element of that you can see things maybe not do these numbers, but you still make money on it. So in my opinion, I personally think that Tesla stock at the moment is carrying a lot of gains, very lucky on multiple expansion, very poor financials for the premium it's currently trading at. I think a company doing these financials should be even probably half of where it is right now. So I think that if you're a Tesla shareholder, I've seen a few people getting a bit carried away. I'd be very careful about getting carried away at the moment, because I believe that there's been a lot of gains dragged forward for the next few years, and for them to go even higher than where they are right now, you would need a lot of things to go right. Not saying it won't go right, there's always that chance, But I think the risk reward side is definitely something just be really careful of anyway. Anyway, that's the video on Tesla, guys. I thought I'd talk about it because I know a lot of people just kind of put their hype opinions around, and I thought I'd try to give you a bit more of a balanced view. Like I said, I always don't want it to come out that I'm bearish on Tesla. I'm a natural bull on Tesla, but I don't believe the hype. That's what I say about it. I don't believe about factoring in billions from robo-taxis when it's contributing nothing to the revenue line or anything like that. I actually look at the fundamentals, the financials, and we work out how they're doing. So hope you enjoyed the video, guys. See you in a bit.